Me too. Hello, Hunter Shea.
Hello, Jack Campese.
We are the Monster Men.
And you are not.
Our top story tonight. We are here to talk about paranormal TV shows.
Otherwise known as Para TV.
We have talked about many paranormal television shows, some of our favorites, but in our conversations around that, we've realized there are a million of these things.
We sat down for about 30 seconds and rattled off 11 that are currently on right now.
So we're just going to talk about those 11.
None else.
That'll be plenty and everybody will be...
Well, we're not going to talk about Ghost Hunters because we've dedicated episodes solely to Ghost Hunters. So we're going to leave them out because you all know how we feel about that show.
Yep. I want to lead off with the one that you turned me on to recently, Ghost Mine.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
So,
Ghost Mine is awesome.
You wrote a blog post about it that was wildly popular.
Of all the things I've written in the last 2 years, that is the one that just went bananas.
One of the guys from the show has been in touch with us on Twitter.
One of the Greenhorns, as well as Patrick, the lead investigator, has talked to us back and forth about it.
Great.
Everybody's wondering if there's going to be a season 2.
So you told me about it. So luckily they were like running a marathon of it, so I caught up.
Yeah.
With it. When you said Ghost Mine, immediately I thought of, well, if it's a haunted mine, obviously it's some real estate guy in the area posing as a prospector ghost to try and get the gold and scare everybody away.
Scooby-Doo?
They would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids. Obviously, Scooby-Doo should be investigating a mine.
Hey, Scoob!
Zoinks! But no, there's no Scooby-Doo.
No.
There's no Mystery Machine.
It's a cool concept of a show because, as I said in my blog post, it's one of the few times where you watch a paranormal show where they don't get an EVP and then run and they're done. Got an EVP, we're out of here. It's actually, they're there for 3 months. Minings, and it's 2 shows. It's a show about mining, which is really interesting, and that's kind of like, you get that kind of History Channel feel. And then you got the paranormal stuff.
And that's what I liked about it was, when you said Ghost Mine, I'm like, well, every week they go to a different mine? Give me a break.
How many haunted mines can there be?
But then when I realized, oh, it's one location over a long period of time. We met the Ghost Hunter guys at Chiller Theater a few years ago, talked to them, and their first question was, when you're at a place like this haunted lighthouse where you see these things, why don't you stay longer? And they said, well, sometimes they do, if they can. But these people do just that.
I mean,
they stay in one
there.
spot, and they have, like, all kinds of equipment and everything. So, you know, the investigation ended up going from the mine to this hotel nearby, and
it went all over to the town. It went all over the place, and there's an overarching conspiracy possibly, and then they open up a separate mine shaft that had been sealed over by maybe the Masons. It was a really cool story, and I said, look, I don't even care if it's real or fake. I loved watching it. It entertained me.
Entertainment value-wise, you got invested in the characters, you got to know the miners.
Yep.
You could see the miner in contrast to the Ghost Hunter guy. So the Ghost Hunter guy's talking about, well, we want to do an investigation, and this other guy's like, I gotta go drill me some.
I gotta go risk my life in this mine right now.
I gotta pay my mortgage.
Yeah, no.
You know, whether there's a ghost or not, I still gotta go in there. And then it's like, well, is it bad luck for a woman to go into the mine?
Redhead, or get all red. It's so cool. Hollywood could never find a cast of characters like these actual miners if they searched for 50 years. So, really cool show.
What's the redhead's name?
Oh my God, Kristen.
One of the most beautiful paranormal investigators. Just as a side note, you're up there with Jael and Chris Williams in my heart now.
the calendar of the paranormal would be the 3 of them repeated 4 times.
So the other thing, well, you just said though, there's a show on one of those channels, like I don't know, Gold Mine or something like that, or
yeah, where the actual miners.
Actual miners, which I've watched like 5-10 minutes of, and it's interesting, the process of mining.
Right.
But I can't sit through a whole episode of that either. Now that you've taken the two and put them together,
yeah,
I'm like, wow, the mining is very interesting.
Are they going to discover gold or a ghost?
Yeah, just when I'm getting bored of one ghost shows, too much happens, like bullcrap alert goes off.
Right.
Too much mining gets boring. This is just enough. You know, they're playing cards and something's banging on the walls. And I'm like, what the hell is that?
It is the peanut butter and chocolate of paranormal TV.
It's a Reese's peanut butter cup of a TV show.
So that show's great. I hope it gets a second season because the first season was too short, but it was sweet.
I still think it's going to be some guy dressed like a prospect.
Could be. Or dressed like a prostitute. Now here's a show you like. Which do you like?
Well,
I got the feeling.
I get a kick out of it. Talk about entertainment value. The Dead Files is a show.
Travel Channel.
Where they have a detective guy and a psychic. And I left my notes over there, so I can't remember their names. Sorry.
He's a tough detective.
But he's like a New Yorker detective. He could be a soprano.
Yes, and she's a skittish psychic who sees things
and she's
everywhere.
I mean, look, I don't know. They from a skeptic standpoint, on paper, what they're doing is great because the psychic goes in and does her thing, and then the investigator goes off and does
his research.
Non-paranormal, interviewing people.
He was a cop. He was a cop.
So then they come back at the end, and he's like, "Okay, you go first." And she's like, "Everywhere she goes is."
Man, I would hate to. I hate to be her.
It's gonna kill us.
I would so hate to be her. Oh my God.
So she's really seeing what she's seeing. My God, yeah, she's looking into the mouth of hell every time she goes somewhere.
Shooting up with 5 syringes of heroin every night just to get to sleep.
I guess so. She always comes with and they have a sketch artist.
Yeah.
For what, and so she'll have a name and a face and all stuff. Then he'll show up with the.
Yeah. Here's the report.
Did you just say Alfred? Look at this. So again, I don't know. From an entertainment standpoint, I enjoy watching the show. I don't know if I buy any of it, but I don't know if I buy any paranormal TV show. But out of all the different bells and whistles that these different gimmicks that these shows have,
right?
I like this gimmick.
You like that one?
Because again, I don't watch this. I never know when these shows are on. It's always flicking around. They're always on 24 hours a day anyway. The Bio channel should be called the Paranormal channel.
My 13-year-old loves that show. So if your demo is 13-year-old girls and middle-aged men, you've hit it. You got it. Mm-hmm. The show that's on before it, it's been on for a few years, Ghost Adventures. Tough guy calling out ghosts. If you're in here, come and hit me now.
I gotta say, while I get
Zach
a kick,
is nuts.
Zach, I get a kick out of those guys on the show. It's a ridiculous show. I did bump into him in one of the booths at Comic-Con this year, and he was really nice. He let me take a picture of him. I was like, "Hey,
yeah, that's right."
So they're having fun with it. But that show is like when we talk about being skeptical. The first one I ever saw, this brick flies across the room.
Oh,
and I was like nodding off asleep, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, that was kind of freaky when they were. That was like their pilot or whatever.
Yeah,
that was
so
cool.
Stuff always happens in that show. So who knows who's off camera?
I just want to see Zach actually getting hand-to-hand combat with the ghost, where you don't see anything, but he's getting punched, and you hear him hitting something.
Or it'd be like the Hollow Man. The Hollow Man with Kevin Bacon. At the end, there's a fight, but it's like raining or something, so you can just see the outline of the.
Either that, or he's going to the spirit will possess Nick, and he will beat the tar out of poor Nick, and then it will end with a death.
Ghost Adventures is one of the entertainment value king shows, which.
They do good editing. They amp it up. They yuck it up.
They yuck it
in
up
between stuff. So I mean, look, they're having fun. So no harm, no foul there.
And it's funny how some paranormal places are like, don't antagonize the ghosts and everything. They walk in there like, F you, bring it, don't sing it,
Punch me in the jimmy.
I'm right here.
Now you talk about the Bio channel. They've got My Ghost Story and Celebrity Ghost Stories, which that one stretches it because to me, they're saying it with a straight face because they're actors. That's what they do.
Mia Farrow and some of the most obscure people.
Well, anybody they could find, and I assume it's everybody in Hollywood has had a ghost story. Chaz Palminteri, who had a whole other episode dedicated just to him.
I saw one where he went to a restaurant
the psychic came with him.
Was that My Ghost Story?
No, it was like The Haunting of Chaz Palminteri or something.
Yes, that's a good.
With that psychic something Russo, I forget her name.
It's better to be loved or feared.
Those kind, I don't know. Those are kind of. I really trying to steer clear of those. I watch it for like 5 minutes. I'm like,
well, they're famous. They must be true.
Yeah, exactly. And my thing is, you're famous as an actor, so it must be false.
My favorite thing about those is the person they choose to play the celebrity in the reenactment. Like, so this is the guy who plays Brett Michaels,
Right.
You know, there's a Bret Michaels one, and so there's some guy reenacting like, and then I heard a noise, and I looked up, and there's a person, and so there's some dude with long hair who's like, and you're like, he doesn't look like him at all.
He looks like Dom DeLuise.
But my ghost story, there's my ghost story with video evidence or something like that.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. There is. With people who have filmed and they got tapes or pictures and stuff.
I prefer that one because whenever you watch these, people telling stories of reenactments,
right,
is for the birds for me. But when you have an actual one, like, look, the rocking chair is moving.
right.
That one's a little bit more.
Although when you say reenactments, there are a couple of good ones that do good reenactments. One is a haunting.
Yes.
Which is where it's an hour-long show and they'll reenact with that super. I think they got the guy who narrated Tales of the Dark Side to narrate this thing, and they'll just spend a whole hour talking about family in a particular haunting.
That one can actually get creepy.
Yeah, that's scary. That's like a full-on horror movie.
Like the Haunting in Connecticut movie,
right,
was done way better by that show. Like I think it was their first one they ever did.
Yeah, better than
that
the movie.
Story. Way better. Don't see a Haunting in Connecticut. See
a haunting.
See a Haunting.
That's on like Travel America, or
Something
I have
like
no
that.
idea.
That's another one though that you'll find it and it'll be on like for 4 hours straight.
It'll be like, here's a 7-day marathon of a haunting, and it's amazing how many episodes they've made.
Yeah,
They've done a ton of episodes. And the other one on Sci-Fi, Paranormal Witness, which I think
which one's that?
that's another reenactment one where they'll get the person in the studio and maybe some ancillary people to the story, and they'll be interviewed and talk, and then they have a reenactment. That sometimes can...
And they try and make the
freak you out.
reenactments really scary.
Yeah, and they do a great job of that one, of building the atmosphere and the tension and really making you go, I don't know, I want to sleep with TV off tonight. So that's one of the better ones that Sci-Fi does. And that's a reenactment one. Another one that I love that's not reenactment, since I did the voice, Destination Truth.
Oh, Josh
Gates.
Josh Gates.
Love that show.
That one's more up your alley because they go after stuff like Bigfoot and lake monsters. And and that one's a little bit of an adventure show. Like they're climbing into caves and
I keep waiting for one of them to die.
like somebody's going to get hit by a snake or fall off a cliff or something like that. So
they never find the monster, but sometimes they'll find a ghost, and sometimes when they look for a monster, they find a ghost somewhere, which completely confounds them. That's just a fun show.
It's a fun show.
It's funny too.
The one I like more though is Fact or Faked.
Paranormal Files.
It definitely has a rhythm to the show,
like
the same beats.
Yeah.
But you basically, they pick all the people
There's
come in
6
a
of them.
room, and they each present a case. They pick the best 2, and then each team goes off and investigates. There was one.
Can they do away with that whole phony? Let's sit in our fake office. And
just let's. Here's
this is what we're doing. And maybe in the beginning of the show, here are the ones we're not doing, just so you can look at the evidence.
But some of those are great because I hate people who just rush to a decision that this thing is a haunting or this streak in a photo is a...
Well, they'll try the 3 reenactments to see if they can do it.
There was a couple I really liked. There was one where they had these bugs that were flying, and they nailed it.
Oh, because that was at the rods where they're...
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one where there was a swing that was swinging on its own.
Down in South America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they ended up putting a tent over the swing set.
Right.
And figuring out the reason why it was not paranormal.
No, it was because...
But it was really hard to disprove.
I think because the ground looks flat to your eye, but it's not. It's on an angle, so it just naturally just... It's something like that.
Something like that, but it wasn't as simple as just the wind, but it was...
Yeah.
But there was a reason for it, so I like...
Some of the experiments are so ridiculous, I'm like, wow, we're just doing this to...
Or when
I got to do 3.
Or they're like, well, we hit this guy who's an expert on liars, and after the whole investigation, we determined that, well, the guy who told the witness was lying to us.
Well, because Ben was in the FBI, so...
Yeah.
He's, I wonder how long he was in the FBI.
Really?
Was that like a weekend?
He was in the lobby of the FBI for all we know.
I don't like me. This isn't the X-Files. I don't want to do X-Files.
But they did one where there was a possession, and they had the photographer
bed.
girl. Yeah, she got it looked like the last exorcism.
Yeah.
And they basically had like a crank, like a
The
piston.
setup they put there was insane.
But listen, every
People-
paranormal show that shows a rocking chair in another room that's moving on its own, if I can't see the whole rocking chair I'm using a
it's
rocking
under
chair.
suspicion.
Yeah, like there's a door, and you can see all the rocking chair but one corner. I'm like, what's right here?
Yeah.
In the door, or
That's why Ghost Hunters early on had a thing. It was in a lighthouse where there was the attic or whatever, and they had a chair, and they just left, and then the chair on its own just went, and you could see everything around it. So that was one of the most compelling things about that's.
and actually,
on the show.
Ghost Hunters is the one that if a door closes or something, and they can't see every angle, they're like, well, I don't know what's going on over here, so I can't. They chuck it. So
Good for them.
yay.
Now here's a show, The Haunted Collector. It's funny. There's a lot. There were some people I'd say they're archetypal. They're in their looks. There's some people that look like a lot of people. A lot of people look like John Zaffis. John Zaffis looks like a lot of balding dudes with a beard. And every time, like my kids will be driving around, my daughter will go, "Hey, look, there's John Zaffis." It's so funny.
John Zaffis is the American picker of the paranormal.
Except he ain't paying you. He's just taking it.
I love the show American Pickers. These guys drive around the country. They go to people's junk piles, find the treasures in there. You know, all this old Texaco sign, this little bicycle, and they pay the person $100, and then they go sell the thing for $250. Well, this guy has this down without having to pay the people.
No.
He goes to a haunted house or something, and then they investigate, and they determine that
It's your wedding ring.
this skull statue is the problem. Do you want us to take it? Sure. Then he takes it, he puts it in his paranormal museum, which is right here in Connecticut,
In Stratford.
which you can go see. It's brilliant.
It is amazing.
He's related to the Warrens, so right there,
I watch the show and I
alarm
keep hoping. I hope that in editing we're missing something. The connection between the haunting and the thing that he has just taken from these people. Because that's what bothers me about that show is there is, I don't know if it's the ending, there's just no logic to it. And then he just takes their stuff and runs.
one of the most interesting things that came to mind for all of these shows for me was in The Haunted Collector, every week they find something that is causing a haunting, they take it out, and most likely that stops the haunting.
Right.
On Ghost Hunters, that's never the case. On Paranormal State, it's almost always a sinister entity.
Demon.
Demon.
It's demonic.
On Ghost Adventures,
Mm-hmm.
it could be anything, but usually it's confrontational.
It mirrors whatever they're putting into it.
Whereas the Dead Files can be anything. So there's certain ones that like there's a formula and it's always the same kind of culprit.
Right.
And so I'm like, well, how come the Haunted Collector always finds something that's a culprit and Paranormal State never does?
Nobody ever says, "I'll take this off your hands," because this is obviously where the haunting is.
At the same time, it is entertainment value-wise. It's another good gimmick for his worst.
Yeah, maybe. See, that's the thing. I get so frustrated on that show. I get angry. I've actually thrown stuff across the room because I'm so. Because to me, sometimes it just feels like it puts legitimacy in the field. It sets it back about 20 years sometimes. But I understand what they're doing, and God bless you, John, and your team. And I know, John, outside the show, you've done a lot of incredible stuff. It's just this particular show.
How would you feel going into his museum?
If I could go for free, I'd go. I'm not paying to go see other people's stuff that he's collected.
You come to my museum.
Exactly. Come to my own museum. Our museum right here. All this stuff is haunted.
Well, Paranormal State's the one we hadn't got to.
I interviewed Katrina a couple of years ago. She was very nice. That show, that's another show by the editing can be kind of creepy. And they deal with a lot of dark.
Yeah, that one definitely
stuff.
has some creepy. Sometimes though the sound effects that they do, Captain's log started 5440, where it's dark time now. That like enough with the special effects,
just do it.
Just do it.
But I don't even know if that group does any investigations without the cameras around. So I think that's more of a production.
It's production values for entertainment purposes,
yeah.
And they do create this spooky. But again, that one is. It's fun to watch because they're always confronting evil.
Yeah, I mean it's a creepy thing. It's dark. It's always dark. Even daylight. It's just the film they must have gotten some triple used film from Canada.
And a lot of the people they go to visit to help with the ghost thing you will then see, if you watch Cops, you know,
Bad boy, what you do?
hey, wasn't that woman on Paranormal State?
It's a cool show, though. I actually enjoy that show. I mean, I enjoy most of them, but you can't enjoy all of them.
Well, the great thing is for schmucks like us is basically anytime you turn on the TV now, there's a paranormal
We're
show.
in hog heaven. If I was a kid, I'd never go to school.
Whether we believe it or not, we enjoy watching it.
Right. I'm more entertained by that than another stupid TV show about police or doctors and most of the movies that come out. And I don't have to pay. Well, I do pay for
One of our Monster Men goals this year is to try and go on a ghost hunt with an actual ghost hunting team. So
which I have gotten that in the works, so hopefully we'll give more on that
stay tuned
soon.
for that. So that's our look at the paranormal. If we missed something, let us know. Or what's your favorite paranormal TV
Or what's your
show?
least favorite para TV show?
Go to our Facebook page or go to huntershade.com. You can.
Or come to my house and we'll talk about it over spaghetti and meatballs.
Now that's scary. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Enjoy your TV and keep the lights on.
Boo.
See you next time on
Monster Men. Go!
Grr, arg.